Good evening, everybody. Yes, indeed. It is I, the Old Wolf, coming at you live from Rochester, New York. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here we go for another episode of the Witch and the Wolf Wisdom Podcast. Starting it off a little different tonight. Proud to have my brothers in Incognito Theory starting the show. These are some guys I've known for a few years, and universe is funny sometimes how the circles come back around. Long story short, again, proud and honored to have them joining in with things. We're going to talk a little bit more about them a little bit later, as well as some other things that have been going on. Going to be a lot of music tonight. Tonight's the multiverse of music. Some degrees it's reflective of the new things that are happening.
Lots of new things happening.
Lots of new things happening. So yes,
my eyeballs have been spinning inside my head. With
yes, the witch is going fucking crazy. That's what she does. I see my brother Jonathan is out there. We're going to be doing the track that he and I worked on last year to kind of celebrate the 1-year anniversary of it being released. Time of the Phoenix. That one's caught some heavy traction. Brother Jonathan and I were talking about it earlier today.
Kaboom!
That particular reel. And, you know, I've been screwing around with these different algorithms and, you know, tech, hashtag, whatevers and stuff. You know, and it's just the way things are driven now as far as social media. Or you have to pay one of these other companies to basically spam you. And I just, pure principle, I fucking refuse to pay for that dynamic. I'll support anybody I can within, you know, the local community dynamics, and local being global. I don't care if you're in France, as some of my new friends are. Shout out to Lindsay and her husband. Yay. Some really incredible people that have, you know, kind of appeared. But they were always there. But this is the beauty about magic, is that
we have just discovered them.
Yes,
and
they have discovered us. But also to some degrees, you know, in some of these dynamics, like in the case of Sid Ryder, had been following you for years.
I know. I mean, he's been following me for, he said, about at least 5 years. And he talked back about some things that are at least 5 years old. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I remember you. He had been around for a bit. But then all of a sudden he's like, hey.
You know, there's an old adage, you know, sometimes it's about timing. So the time is right. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's a good feeling.
The time is here. The time is now.
But it's a lot. You know, I'm not going to lie. I am now segueing not into just, you know, doing the podcast and the other stuff and all the music and everything, but not one, but two more shows. One of them is going to be on FM radio, so it's going to be a different kind of show. Obviously, certain dynamics of language the wolf will have to learn.
We actually have to follow FCC rules on that one.
You know, I don't like it. I don't agree with it.
Dial.
But I have the podcast here where I can just get my fucks off and, you know, dance around it. I like to believe that, you know, eventually we'll hit the point where we can get around the dynamics of being freaked out about language, but hey, we're not quite there yet. But yes, going to talk about that a little bit more, and then another aspect that may be an extension of the podcast and or something completely different with another group that we are working with that's within the whole witchy, pagan, rock and roll community.
Completely different.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. So, as always, for the powers that be, the views, expressions, thoughts, opinions, etc., expressed are mine and mine fucking alone.
Except when they're mine.
Except when they're hers, or if you choose to relate to them, hey, that's on you, that's cool, but hey, I'll own my own stuff as well, too. With that being said, the only music that ever comes across this particular podcast is stuff that's either A, written and licensed directly by me, the Old Wolf, or by, like, in this case, my brothers in Incognito Theory who were like, hey, please share us. And I was like, fuck yeah.
You've known...
Yeah, listen, Dave Incognito, I've known for a few years. We share a lot of similar circles down in the Jersey Shore music scene. Back in the day when I was in Broken Past, we did one of the Under My Skin for Life shows. And I've seen Dave around. He knows people within the community, the Old Bridge Metal Militia.
You know people.
Yeah, people we know.
Yeah, you're in the same circle.
Well, yes, but also to the degree, he's had his own world. I have my own world. We were actually talking about that, earlier. He was reinventing himself with his band, not unlike how Tony Rodriguez and Broken Past. Tony's always been the core, and that's one of the beautiful things I love about him, is that he has always reinvented the dynamic based on his perception of it, and he owns that. And in a lot of ways, the band is a better band because of it. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean, people don't stay friends. Granted, unfortunately, in music, sometimes the ego gets in the way. But, I'm blessed in the dynamic that I can call him brother. Him and his son are family to me and my son. We shared a lot of memories together. And, we're also members of the charity. But, so we still are active and involved to the different degrees, even though we don't live as close to each other. We still make music to different degrees. Again, but he has his band.
Oh, and that's the thing. Everybody does their own way, goes their own way, does their own thing, and we're always growing and evolving.
Right. And sometimes the circles come full circle and they come all the way back around.
Yeah, we're not even the same people we were yesterday.
Hopefully God, no, I hope not.
Of ourselves.
Yeah, we evolve.
And it's really great when you can come back and retouch and say, hey, where you been? This is where I've been. This is where I'm going. And you can hey, this song.
Oh, no doubt. Listen.
And then go together for a while. And then, people go their way. Sometimes they come back
Dave
together.
switched up his lineup. It's still him fronting the band. And, that dynamic will never change. And again, we were talking earlier and, in full disclosure, I'm just going to throw it out here in the simplest dynamic. My brother Dave, you don't need me or anybody else to make you cool because you have that naturally.
Stage presence.
Okay. Now, again, I've seen this guy perform. I know this guy. Granted, you know what I mean? We weren't like prison bunk buddies, but we know a lot of the same people. Listen, I know some of the things he's been involved with. Granted, don't get me wrong, none of us are fucking perfect. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up anybody's ass. But he's a solid musician. He's a good guy, and especially within the genre of metal, it's hard to be original. It really is. It's not easy to do. And I believe that he brings an original dynamic. So again, I mentioned when I said, I'm honored to be able to say, hey, listen to these guys. Because this is really the spirit of rock and roll. You know what I mean? We got all the corporate dynamics and you know what I mean? You've got all the high-end, airplay stuff. And, a lot of it's good, don't get me wrong. But they all start somewhere. So this is really where it's born. This is where the magic is birthed in all of its splendor and gore. And, oh, my God,
beauty.
What the fuck is that?
And the beauty.
And the beauty. And the nightmare. But, yeah, we're going to talk about that again a little bit later. But, again, my brother, Dave Incognito. We always like to talk about the people within the circles. And, it's an analogy like a lot of others. First and foremost, I'm going to jump out. My sister, Ashley Hart. Hart's Creations. Dream Catches with Intention. Listen, she's a close friend. I call her sister. I legitimately look at her as a sister.
She really is.
And she's been dancing through some shit, like we all have to sometimes. So it's important, I believe, that to the best of our ability, we support each other, we love each other, and we try to lift each other up when the shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? So, props to you, my sister. You fucking hang in there. You fight the good fight. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
You're kicking some ass.
Yes. And you got this.
Ass, actually.
And you're not alone.
Nah.
So check her out. She makes incredible dream catchers. She really has.
God. She's been making these cutest little hair thingies lately. The bows and flowers and stuff too. But she sent me this dream catcher she made that was unique, and it hasn't sold yet. And somebody who's going to snatch it up is going to get so lucky. But it is, she said, with doe skin, and there's deer bone in it, and it's just like, oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Listen, again, for whatever this is worth, this girl's got real magic. And, with some of the pricing that some of the people out there, don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge any artist a livelihood or what they got to do, but I can tell you in no uncertain terms, her quality is fucking incredible. incredible.
It's astronomical.
And her prices are fucking
stupidly
cheap.
low.
Okay.
I keep telling her to raise the prices. You guys should.
Right. If I have any bone to pick with her, is that she sells herself short. But hey, that's just.
You guys should buy something from her before I convince her to raise her prices.
For those of you who are not able to see and are just listening and then just soaking this all in, you can check her out at facebook.com/heartscreation, and that's hearts, HARTS -creations. Dream catchers with intention. So yeah, definitely check her out. A couple of our other sisters, Bobby and Sherry, down there in the Badlands of Texas.
Love y'all.
Love you.
Y'all.
Moonbeams. A lot of incredible stuff. Again, you know, a lot of this, as a guy, I'm just not going to lie. Yeah, it's geared toward women and those of you who identify as women.
They've got some great, though, men's-sized bracelets, and you can actually have a custom-made.
And I appreciate that small dynamic of being included. But we got to call certain things for what they are. And they have a knack for it. They have, as I like to call, they have the pulse. They have real magic. And people like that, especially, you know, how they go out and, you know, they do this in the real world. They have a shop. They go out to different, you know, types of festivals and things. So they don't just talk it, they fucking walk it. So check them out. Moonbeams, Facebook and Instagram. Support them, even if it's something stupid. This is how we make it work. Strength in numbers.
Yep.
And finally, but not least, at least within the whole witchy dynamic, our sister Suzanne with Mystical Moons. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Suzanne and Mystical Moons?
I mean, if she doesn't have it, as far as it comes to crystals, she'll get it. She's also an amazing artist, makes beautiful fairy doors and clay sculptures and things like that. But really, she has every kind of crystal you can possibly think of. If she doesn't have it, she'll get it. She's got carvings. She's got raw crystals, polished crystals, points. If you're not getting your crystals from her, I don't know what you're even doing, because all of her stuff is sourced beautifully, you know, ethically sourced, and it's cleansed. And when you get it, you know that she's taken it, she's brought it into her witchy room, and is absolutely cleansed it and made it beautiful for you with your intention in mind.
Wow, I couldn't have said it any better. So yeah, check her out.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Facebook.com/mysticalmoonslive or www.mysticalmoons.com. Tell her the witch and the wolf sent you. She'll take care of you.
She'll give you a discount.
I see my sister Stephanie, my sister Marcia, Sarah. Hello, everybody. Hello. Stephanie is, again, another one of those people who have a more personal relationship with us. We know her kids. We were out there.
She is Queen of the Monsters.
Queen of the Monsters.
Well, that's because she calls all of her
Tailbug and DJ, the wolf, said, "What's up?
What's up?"
Yeah, listen, I love those guys. Listen, they're a great family, incredible dynamic, dealing with real things in real time, in honest, real ways. As my sister Stephanie knows, it's not always fucking pretty, but god damn it, we get the job done.
Yep.
Get the job done.
And let me tell you, my sister Stephanie, she is a stylist, so when she gets the job done, she gets it done with style.
And she has to deal with the worst of fucking humanity on a daily basis. You know what I mean? And we have a couple of friends who have to deal with the elements of dealing with the general population.
Dancing in the mouth of madness, I believe you call it.
And some of them actually literally have to dance in the fucking mouth of madness.
Yes.
And I give you all a lot of credit, you know, where it's just, they don't fucking vocalize it. So yes, we constantly talk about that because, again, we believe in that dynamic of supporting each other, building each other up.
And Sarah, I mean, she dances in the mouth of madness too. She's a teacher. So bless her.
Yes.
Bless your heart, Sarah. Bless your heart.
Underpaid, underappreciated, undervalued.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, but we need, you know, we need to focus on the
That's true. Peter's teaching.
You know, we have to teach our children how to better themselves, to have better OnlyFans accounts and You know what I mean?
I saw that thing. I showed it to you.
Find new ways to drown ourselves in debauchery.
Public art in the 1820s, and it shows like a picture of the Trevi Fountain. And public art in 2020, and it showed this sculpture that looked like a literal butt plug that's out there somehow, an art installation. They have one in Fort Worth that looks like a garbage can.
Listen, context is always just about perspective. One person sees a piece of shit, another person sees, fucking Allah in it. You know what I mean? Who's right, who's wrong? What does it really matter? Sarah, I completely emphasize the past 2 weeks probably have been absolutely fucking terrifying for you as a teacher. Mm-hmm. As a parent, I am so fucking grateful that my kid is not in school anymore.
Glad of that. Yes.
But I feel for anybody out there with young children in the school system. It's a shit show.
No kidding.
And I still haven't even gotten my head around it. I have pretty much a philosophy. I'm not even going to touch this shit. These people deserve time to mourn, to deal with the fucking fallout. We all know every day people are dying in fucking horrible ways for any number of reasons. So we're going to try and keep it upbeat and in the spirit of love, just be like, hey, we live the best way that we can. It's not to take away from anybody else's pain.
Light, be example, and have some laughter because God knows
there is no, what are you going to say? You know what I mean? Granted, yeah, we feel, we cry, we hurt. Some of us are fucking angry. Some of us are fucking indifferent. Stephanie says she's super grateful to the teachers in the area of Texas, and for the very dynamic, and I agree with her, is that those teachers are permitted to fucking carry.
Yep.
Say whatever you want about gun control, but if it were my kid with what's going on now, I gotta tell you, some of my philosophies have changed. Marcia is having surgery Thursday. Yes, we do wish you well, hon.
Good vibes.
Good vibes always. Thank you for joining us, and you hang in there.
Lady Shiya over here doing her Care Bear stare at you.
She's spending energy for you to go out with you. So you just carry that with you. So again, as we were talking about earlier, a lot of new stuff going to be expanding, not only in the dynamics of what we do regularly through the mentorship circle, through the lives and stuff, obviously the dynamics of the podcast, but a whole lot of other stuff, not only creating new music, but getting more involved locally and globally.
Yes.
So on the local end, we are now involved with the local low band FM station here in Rochester, New York. It is
6.3 Rochester Free Radio.
Yes. Let's talk about that real quick. So a lot of things, sometimes just they happen in the moment. And this was, again, one of those moments that just kind of came out of nowhere. Now, myself personally, I've always been a strong proponent of public radio. I believe music is something that should be shared. Again, don't get me wrong, I do not begrudge artists and musicians making a living, but there has to be a balance. And, and I grew up in the dynamic of, FM radio where you heard all the music, and if you didn't have the money to buy the album, you still could fucking listen to the music. And granted, you can still listen to the radio, but it's not the same thing. It just really isn't. Now, granted, I can't speak the same way on public radio that I can out here. So I will have to adjust. It will be, to some degrees, a watered-down version, but I believe the message can still be carried not only accurately, but with, humor and, good intention. It will also allow us to incorporate more of the local dynamics, not only within Rochester, but the upstate New York area, for music, for witchcraft, for all types of different elements. So this is something that Shiya and I are going to build upon, locally within our community, because again, it's the old adage, you have to take care of the garden that feeds you.
Yes. You got to make local connections as well as connections outward.
Strength in numbers,
Yes.
This type of dynamic, because it is a nonprofit organization, doesn't make the money like the other stations do, because they can't do the same dynamics of advertising. By their very nature, they are nonprofit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're again, proud and honored. We'll be talking more about that and incorporating it in when that hits the waves. The other beautiful thing with that, unlike here I can't play you old music, say, from Led Zeppelin, or a live recording of Ozzy Osbourne and Randy Rhoads that happened here in Rochester, New York back in 1981. Facebook, YouTube, the whole internet thing.
Shut it down.
Listen, they're fucking scared shitless.
They're like, yeah, no, we don't.
Okay, you even whisper like a fart in the fucking room, and they're like, no, copyright infringement. Fuck you.
Copyright.
Now, I have won 99% of the copyright shots that they've all taken to me. I don't know if they have a bunch of fucking monkeys out there that are just running around literally randomly. Because I see people posting out blatant porn on Facebook and TikTok and all over the goddamn place. And they hide it in things like, hey, come check out my Call of Duty feed. Oh, by the way, this is my asshole close-up. And you can see more on OnlyFans.
But that's
and Facebook's like, sure.
And because they don't care if their account gets banned, and eventually they will get banned. But meanwhile, meanwhile they ham it up, and then when they get banned, they make a new one.
But again, common sense suggests that it's probably a 12-year-old kid in fucking Kentucky somewhere that's just or a spamming or trolling, or a bunch of fucking
40-year-old in his mother's basement.
Well, there's that too, and there could be a bunch of North Korean hackers that are just like, this is how we spread the virus.
Yes.
You can subscribe to whatever theory. It
could be Russians.
Suits your purpose.
So, hey, Jojo.
Jojo, good to see you. Listen, I mean, again, I don't begrudge people their beliefs, their ideas. Don't get me wrong. If it goes too far down that fucking rabbit hole, and you start talking about all Democrats are Satanists that eat small children in a pizza parlor in Washington, D.C., you know what? Go fuck yourself, okay? Come at me with something original, something real, that at least has some tangent in reality. If you come back to me and say, hey, all the political parties are corrupt and probably bought by corporations and don't actually give a shit about you or me, yes, I'm going to be like, yeah, that doesn't sound like a conspiracy theory. That sounds... DJ! Oh, shit. My little brother DJ. All right, your mom's going to be pissed at me because, of course, when you come on, I start using the shitty language. So,
hey, DJ.
It's fuck time.
You're fucking awesome, DJ.
But yes.
We love you, DJ.
One of my tracks that's been getting a lot of traction was inspired by Mr. DJ himself. Just Like Me was really, again, a reflective dynamic from some elements that he had shared personally with us. And a lot of, if not most of my music, especially these past couple of years, is all reflective about my experiences, my feelings, and a lot of the stories and experiences of the people around me. A lot of different musicians. Tom Hampton from Poco, Jeff Thal, Danny Watts from the Bullet Boys, Tony Rodriguez from Broken Past, Jim Beck down in Virginia, Matt Brown, who's been the voice on, 90% of everything I've been doing.
Can't forget Greg either.
Greg Carthuman, who did the Pocket Full of Wolves for the autism event last year, and he's now playing with Exit Strategy.
Yeah.
So these are all people that I love and have had in my life at different points in time. You know what I mean? Again, Greg's got kids, I've got kids, we spoke about that. We lost contact for the years, you know what I mean? And then came back together and, had a blast with it. So yes, music. So in the spirit of that,
music.
Going to talk a little bit again in the earlier part of this about my brothers in Incognito Theory. Now, they have a show coming up, and I'm a huge fan of the dynamic, support local music, okay? There's nothing like a live show, okay? Don't get me wrong, if you're worried about the COVID still, or if you're immunocompromised, or you just don't like that loud stuff, I get it.
Safety first.
I get it. You don't want to. But there's still a lot of ways you can support local bands. You can like and subscribe to their YouTube channels, Facebook, stuff like that. Just little things. It doesn't even cost you anything. But if you are...
That shit means the world when you go and support them.
Really, it does.
And comment and stuff like that. That shit means the world to us content creators, to those music creators. It means the world. So get on there and say, hey, this shit sounds good. Make it feel good.
And listen, I know... for a fact, personally, knowing Dave Incognito, that This is an expression of his heart, of his soul in many ways. So that dynamic, when it touches people, is worth more the fucking money is to him. And I know that. I've seen the dynamic. You know what I mean? People can talk the fucking talk. But this is a guy that's gone out and done charity shows. I know. I was there. I performed with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
charity shows.
You know, that's not like conspiracy theory shit. It's like, yeah, I was there in the moment. I saw it. He and I, again, share different experiences from different perspectives. You know, again, we both had a friend, Chris Hominy, who passed a little over a year and a half ago. So that was a big part of the local music scene, but was also a member of the Under My Skin for Life Foundation, which I also happen to be a member of, which was started by Tattoo Tony Rodriguez. So again, you see the 6 degrees of separation. You know, we know this person, that person knows that person. Hey,
circles within circles,
and especially within music, you know, bands will play shows. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to do all of the other name dropping, but yeah, sometimes names come through in different contexts, and sometimes those names you don't want to ever encounter again, which is why, again, I'm not going to name names. I don't want to be that asshole. It's also part of the reason, and I've talked about this a lot, why I don't perform as much live. I've chosen a little bit different path. I'd rather create music to some degrees remotely with different musicians like Tom Hampton from Poco and Danny Watts and others that, you know, again, is really possible because we don't have to worry about conflicting schedules and shit. Everybody can work on their parts. We throw them together. We mix and master them. We create a song, and a lot of my music, especially the stuff that was born out of the pandemic, reflected that. There were no live shows. Mm-hmm. But these guys are playing May 11th, Incogno Theory. Okay. They're going to be opening for Scotty Austin at the Debonair Music Hall, which is a really cool place in Teaneck, New Jersey. Okay. It's going to be May 11th, Debonair Music Hall, Teaneck, New Jersey. And it's going to be presented by, and I mentioned these guys earlier, coincidentally, Inner Demon Media and Dirtbag Clothing, I believe it is. I can't read completely that graphic, so I apologize to anybody over at Dirtbag who, you know, may be popping in. But listen, these guys are worth seeing live. So if you're out in that area and you're into, you know, some new metal with a really energized group of guys, go check them out.
When we're talking about local music, we're talking about the people that have gone out there and, like Wolf is saying, are putting their heart and souls into this thing. Whether they're playing locally or whether they're playing globally, it's the small people who are really just trying to share the passion of their music with you.
Well, it's also an expression of who they are, you know. And again, I know Dave, like a lot of us, his music comes from his experiences, his feelings, the dynamics of those elements come together in different ways. Some of it is darker, some of it's more upbeat. And like everything, it has evolved over the years. You know, again, I mentioned it earlier, you know, not unlike Broken Past, you know, Tony has evolved Broken Past, and now it's coming into a form that's probably going to be the best out of them all. Like, I'm really excited for what those guys are working on, and I can't wait to hear.
Giving us enough teasers. I'm excited.
Well, he's not really teasing us with shit. He talks about it, but that's just Tony. That,
yeah, you know, I know. He talks about it, but when you know he's talking about it, he's pouring it. Tony, when he talks about stuff, he's pouring his heart and soul and stuff.
Oh, listen, you know, this guy has been through the fucking ringer and the shit he's dancing, but he's still, he's fighting the good fight. So you got to respect.
Every day and keeps going and makes shit happen.
Yeah, Stephanie says language doesn't phase your household. Well,
good.
You know what I say to that? And you're going to be the first one to kind of, to get it, as they say.
Hey.
You know what I mean? And that's beautiful, because I believe language, you know, there's so many things that fuck us up. Language shouldn't be one of them. So with that, my brother Samuel has a special personal message for everybody tonight.
Taste the motherfucking rainbow!
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And I think that speaks to the spirit. Taste the motherfucking rainbow!
I think you should play that second one now, because...
No, that comes out at another time. My sister Jamie, her and Derek are also in that closer inner circle.
Love you, Jamie.
Yes, love you, brother Derek. Great to see you guys. I don't. It could be Jamie. It could be Derek. You never know. It could be both of them. It could be the dog. You know, who the fuck knows?
I will say I love Derek too, but Jamie's prettier.
You're biased like that.
I'm biased.
See, that's fucked up.
Absolutely.
You know
But
that.
you know what? Derek is a smart man.
No, you know what? Because this is the moment.
Emotional damage.
Yes, that's how it plays out. Fucking emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Come on, great to see you. Listen, again, we appreciate, we love the support. A lot of you, again, are in our lives to different degrees. We'd love to bring you all home with us. We'd love to take you home.
We would take you home with us.
Well, she will. I'm a little bit. I play a good part, but those of you who have met me know.
Oh, you'll take them home with you, and then you'll probably go in your room. And
I'll fucking hide. I'm a wolf. I gotta.
That's what you do most of the time anyway.
I gotta dip back into the fucking shadows. I don't trust humanity. Y'all have a certain scent that just,
it's
you know.
kind of like you earlier when you went into music mode. You're like, I'm not turning my back on you, but I'm putting my headphones and turning my back on you because it's music time.
Well, I didn't want you to get the wrong idea, but I was just like, listen, I gotta go.
It's music time.
So we're gonna take a quick break. We're going to bust out. It's both of you, Jamie and Derek. Great.
See, Derek will agree with me though.
Strength in numbers, teamwork. Mm-hmm. So this is a track from Incognito Theory.
Another one, yay.
Okay, this is an actual official video of theirs. Again, May 11th, Teaneck, New Jersey. You're going to be playing. Check them out. So here's a little bit more of the Incognito Theory, and then we'll be back. So yeah, those were my brothers in Incognito Theory. And that was their official Ride On featuring 60 Miles Down. Again, little dynamics
Hey, go DJ.
that, the local music scene, as we refer to it, you just don't always get that once, you cross into the heavily sanitized commercial dynamic, And any fan of any band, as a Metallica fan, the first couple of Metallica albums were fucking banging.
Oh.
And don't get me wrong, I understand that people appreciate the later albums, but it's just not the same to me, personally. Now, again, the other side of the other side of the coin for me is, as long as those fuckers are out there doing it, I'm good. Because I'm younger than the guys in Metallica. So any of this dynamic, you're too old to do this shit. And that's not even factoring in the Rolling Stones and fucking Keith Richards.
I was going to say Keith.
Because, well, that's your buffer.
Yes.
Okay? So if you're younger than the guys from Metallica, you still got that additional buffer between Metallica and fucking Keith Richards to give you strength and hope.
Now, on the converse side, if you're not as high as Willie Nelson, have you even smoked?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to get Snoop Dogg on the show and just kind of burn one and just be like,
be awesome, yeah.
Pick his fucking brain on the universe, which is something I'll shoot. I'll have my people reach out to his people, which basically means I'm going to send Shiya out to stalk him. That's how that works.
I will say, I have to give some serious props to Incognito Theory because I don't know if anybody was really actively watching the video for this.
But the witch saw the tarot cards.
But the witch saw the tarot coming out not once, not twice.
Several times.
At least
3 or 4
times in the video. And actually, that where they were reading
fucking
cards.
magic in there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But
listen, it's a good sound. They're a good band.
Me likey.
And again, whatever this is worth, and the people that know me know this, I'm not going to float bullshit.
No.
I'll put out rough tracks of development stuff because I believe in that. I'm comfortable enough in my own skin and my own music to say, here's the raw outtakes. It's not perfect. It's got fucking mistakes, but this is part of the creative process. And a lot of people have asked for that over the years, and
the Beatles
I
did
like
that often. I
documenting that. Now, this is different. This is a polished piece that Dave and the band had put out, and I think it does reflect very well. And they should be proud of it. And again, I'm honored to be able to share this with you folks. They'll be back on the show, and I will have Dave live.
Yes.
At some point, depending upon their schedule. He and I have already talked about it. But one of the elements that goes with this and how this all kind of played out. And this is going to really play out a little bit more next week, but in setting the promo, as they say, about what's to come. This guy here, Sid Ryder, Inner Demon Media Radio. By chance, Sid and I just circles crossed. He is representing Incognito Theory. I know Dave in Incognito Theory. He had been following Shiya for years. So the universe said, hey, let's just throw everybody together and see what the fuck happens.
Melting pot.
Well, that when you usually throw a bunch of witches and wizards together, magic's gonna fucking happen.
Oh,
that's what happens.
Sparks are flying.
So yeah, Sid's got a radio show and a bunch of stuff going on with Inner Demon Radio. Him and his co-host Char, really good at what they do. Very funny, very real. And Sid has the added dynamic of being able to play, licensed music. So it could be Metallica, it could be Huey Lewis and the News, but it's also like Incognito Theory and other bands that are coming under his umbrella. But he's also active within the dynamics of what we'll call the pagan witch community. And, I did a shout out earlier, to one of the couples that are involved. Lindsay and her husband, they're from France. Okay, so she's probably, if she's not dancing insomnia right now, is hopefully fucking asleep.
Yeah.
But, and there are a few others. And again, I'm not as hip with the names. Listen, again, those that know me know, I have a hard time remembering my own fucking name. I actually have to have the patch on my vest to remind me that, yes, I am the old wolf. But with that being said, there are a lot of people involved, really cool people, and I've been touched. So the community is expanding, and it's expanding quickly.
Yes.
So we're kind of working on finding a balance. Sid's going to be on the podcast next week. We're going to talk about the dynamics, not only of fatherhood, but surfing the insanity that is the music scene, and, you know, some of the common shared elements that we have regarding the world in general, but again, reflective to music and magic. You know, and one of the shows that he does, and, you know, I made it a point this week to, you know, kind of pop on and try and, you know, lend my support and be involved. But it's this little thing called the Delinquents Ball. And my brother Sid, not unlike what I do here, kind of, you know, creates his own magic, speaks his mind, and it reflects a dynamic also, too, of his greater community, of the people involved. So there are a bunch of other shows, and we're working on the dynamic of either incorporating this podcast theoretically into the lineup. I've already given him permission to use my music. I love the dynamic that, hey, anywhere I can get my music out, I'll gladly reciprocate. Again, strength in numbers. We share each other's music. More people hopefully get to hear it and experience it. I'm with DJ. DJ's into that harder stuff. It is good music. And, you know, again, not for everybody. I dance with a lot of different genre stuff. You know, the live band that I'm working with right now, we're doing old classic covers. And it's a project of love. And, you know, shout out to Ed, his wife, Mark, everybody with that dynamic. But
hey, y'all.
These are aspects of things, again, that, you know, nobody's ever going to really be able to experience the true performances, because too many of the members of these original bands are fucking dead. So you're never going to see the Beatles perform. You're never going to see Cream perform. You're never going to see Led Zeppelin perform. You're never going to see Pink Floyd perform. You're never going to see Fleetwood Mac. You're not going to see these dynamics. So the only thing we have are those of us who can carry on the tradition, the spirit,
carry the music,
and try and recreate some of the beauty and the magic that they created. So that's what we refer to, or what I refer to as the Thursday Night Project, is about, is creating a set list of all classic rock.
I refer to it as Shiya's personal concert.
Yeah, well, Shiya gets to sit there, and she's been doing these recordings. I put it out on
Shiya's
social media
personal concert
of me getting a 2.5 minute fucking run on White Room.
Oh,
you know, and I'm shaking off the dust. Listen, you know, I have been conditioned,
my man,
by doing a lot of just in studio work. I performed last year at the autism event, but besides the autism event and the practices that Greg and I and Bruce and the Monkey did, that was all. That was the first time I had performed since the whole pandemic had started. So, yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of live performing.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get this,
or live in the dynamic that are a lot of other people,
where you're jamming and you're actually working on songs and getting them beautiful and perfect and just letting it flow. I'll tell you, you get this whenever you're there listening to live music like that, especially when you're playing live music like that. You guys have this energy, this dynamic. It's just so infectious.
Well, I mean, we get off on that shit. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
It's amazing. It just,
of course. That's why I still do it.
It gets in your bones. It gets in your blood. It just warms you up, chills you out. And it's just the absolute coolest thing that I can think of to do on a Thursday.
And you know what? I appreciate that. But again, Sid Ryder, Inner Demon Media, Radio.
Check them out. They've got a lot of cool.
You're going to see a lot more of them whether you want to or not, because we're going to be working with them. So
like them.
You might as well get used to it. They're cool people. You know, again, I don't, you know what? I'm going to flaunt my ego. I consider myself at this juncture of my life a pretty decent judge of character. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. But there are dynamics of how people act, the things they say, the things they do, more importantly. You know, and Lindsay and I were talking about it earlier. You know, and it's an old philosophy of mine. Words don't mean shit without the actions to make them real. You teach a parrot to recite fucking scripture. It doesn't mean anything. And we're conditioned. We're conditioned to just float on down the river like fucking turds. You know what I mean? Just basking in the sun like, oh God, when's the ride gonna end?
Right.
And, you know, we accept it. Some of us, you know, we're fucking wolves. We're witches. You know what I mean? We don't play that way. And eventually there's a fucking reckoning. And, you know, some of that has been playing out in a lot of dynamics. And it doesn't always play out kindly. So,
right.
Again, the dynamic of strength in numbers, we try and support, take care of each other the best we can, because in the end, who else is going to fucking do it? So with that, I'm going to jump backwards within this multiverse of magic. One of the things I mentioned earlier that's kind of taken off and gone a little bit viral was a year ago, I released Time of the Phoenix, which was co-written with Jonathan and features Matt Brown on vocals and myself and my son, the monkey, and Jeff Thal on drums. It's a really, really powerful track. You know, Matt was commenting it. We were talking to him the other day. It's one of his favorite from, you know, the album that we did. But that thing, again, who knows how these fucking things work, but the algorithm just took it and it popped up almost 5,000 fucking views in like 24 hours. It just went
watching
bad
the
shit.
numbers go click, and I'm like,
it was just
honey,
it was like a bad acid trip.
Is this real? Yeah,
now, a lot of people would say, well, that's nothing. You know, I have 10 million hits for my Squeezing My Zit video. Yeah, man, cool. You know what I mean? I don't play the comparison game. You know what I mean? Some of the shit that I see out there that have these millions of views, I don't understand. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay? And it will kind of set the segue into what I will rant on when we come back, because I don't want to throw the vibe off, because this track really is about the power of rebirth. It is about the dynamic of the Phoenix. And I believe it's a common element that we all share. So, you know, in the spirit of the 1 year anniversary, my brother Jonathan, great job, man. Looking forward to making more music with you.
Oh, yeah.
So here it is, Time of the Phoenix, and then we'll be back.
Turn back time, then I wouldn't change anything. go by, years go by, life goes by, the time's right to die. Days go by, years go by, life goes by.
So yeah, Time of the Phoenix, a year ago released. And that was a fun one, and the dynamic has a couple different stylistic elements. It's got a little bit of the acoustic guitar stuff, and then obviously DJ knows, as a guitar player, I like loud. I have Marshall amps. I like distortion. I like echo. I like...
Understatement.
I like shit that makes your flesh fall off your body and then just kind of come back together in this kind of orgasmic. What the fuck was that? Or, as you know, we're going to continue to refer to it as
emotional damage.
Yes. Emotional damage.
Yeah. Nothing quite like it.
Yeah, it's the point where I started screaming, loud, loud, turn it down.
In talking again a little bit about the Inner Demon Media crew, as I'll refer to them. You know, again, we're spending a little bit of time with them. And,
you have been giggling your head off talking about
I had come into, you know, and I'm gonna throw a fucking promo up there again too, because it's really, you know, I enjoyed it. It was fun, you know, like anything, it takes a little bit to get to know people and their little aspects. There we go.
There it is.
So, you know, a lot of it I just been kind of chill and just kind of, you know, observing, you know, I don't want to be like, you know, hey, you know, so just like me. But, you know, I also have a natural dynamic, not only as a musician, but as a storyteller, as a father, as a human. So I get involved. So, you know, the one dynamic on the show, it has this neat little chat feature type of thing where everybody just blast fucking gifts. You know, that's the primary form of communication. So everybody just banging out all these fucking insane gifts back and forth. And it was a blast. You know, it was childish, but it was refreshing, you know, because everybody was just having fun.
Like that.
So, you know, a lot of it was reflective to the music. So when like Huey Lewis and the News was on and they're playing that fucking 80s kind of, we're all throwing out like fucked up memes of like, you know, Richard Simmons, you know, standing around like, hello, boys. You know, fucking Rocky Horror, like, the doctor has arrived. He's just a sweet transsexual from Transsexualvania. Yeah, that kind of shit. Now, again, from an outside observer, someone would be like, all right, what the fuck are these people doing? But it was in a beautiful spirit. It wasn't hurtful.
It's a fun thing.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like, you know, somebody was trying to sneak in child pornography. You know, it wasn't anything, you know, so far off the fucking deep end. And it was a good time. You know, as Shiya said, you know, I'm just sitting there, I'm laughing, I'm enjoying.
He's laughing, he's having fun, he's giggling. I'm like,
I'm usually on the other side. I'm usually, and Sid knows this, and he and I talked a little bit about it. When you're on the other side of the fucking mic, there's a certain dynamic that you have to really stay within.
Yeah.
You're the captain of the ship. Even if you're purposely going to sink the fucking ship, it's still your fucking ship.
Still, yeah. You have some manner of responsibility.
Right. You know what I mean? And me being a Star Trek fan, I'm going to do my best fucking Chris Pike, okay? A lot of you thought I was going somewhere else, but no. I'm a Chris Pike guy. Yes.
Yeah,
for the record. Yeah, well, no, it's another show. Listen, you know, but...
All I'm saying is don't let Deanna fly the ship.
Fucking, yeah, you know, that's, you know, again, I'm not crossing to any of these other Star Trek genres. I'm talking the original, okay? The original captain of the fucking Enterprise, at least as far as the show was concerned, was Captain Christopher Pike.
Yes.
Enough said. So anyway,
he's the OG.
So I'm hanging out with, you know, and they're just fucking stupid memes. So it was kind of like the after party thing. Everybody goes back to the other chat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, discussing, you know, all right, you know, looking at this, you know, how numbers are, you know, how do we expand? And, include people, ideas. And then the fucked up memes and shit start coming out again.
Yeah.
So earlier today, I just came in on the back end of one. I was kind of prepping for the podcast. So I was like, all right, I don't want to get sucked too far down the rabbit hole. I got to keep my head fucking straight. So what do I walk into? All the women in the chat are just sharing these fucked up feet fucking memes. Okay? And me, and again, ladies, listen, I love you. I always try and speak from my heart with honest respect. I was like, what the fuck? Now I'm just walking into just like a whole nother layer of trauma. Do you know what I mean? And I said it. I was like, do I say this? I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Fuck it. So I'm like, yeah.
Emotional
it starts playing up Sid's fucking here. Yeah, there he is. So yeah, the whole foot thing's dancing back and forth, you know what I mean? And so I'm trying, to play it off like, all right, obviously is probably the only guy in the room in the moment. I'm not gonna fucking do something, stupid. I know better, you know what I mean? It's just not who I am.
But I say,
well, no, well, there's layers of stupid. Like certain stupid only applies. Like again, you're my woman, so there's certain levels of humor that is exclusively for you. Yes. Okay, that I don't pull on anybody else.
I think that other people...
It's not appropriate. You know what I mean? In theory, but again, my mother and I talk about this, and I talked about it in the chat. I shared a picture of her and I from back in the 60s. My mother was the original hippie gypsy. And thank fucking God that I emulated that dynamic versus my fucking psychotic alcoholic father.
I'll second that.
You know what I mean? But within some of those experiences, and part of it was joking about, the whole Italian woman thing. But again, it became very obvious. And, I made the statement, as an empath, I can read the energy in the room. Okay? Like, and I say this to all guys, learn how to read the energy, man. It will save you so much time and hassle. And just, simple dynamics. Take it from a baseline of just basic respect. Really, that's, again, a simple analogy. It doesn't mean that, again, depending upon the nature of what's going on, people can be playful, but words, depending upon who's involved, are translated different ways. So you throw out some words, blah, blah, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden people are like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And then everything's gone sideways. So it is that subtle little dance, and I know Sid was talking about it. He was dealing with some side shit and his head felt like it was going to fucking explode. So it's really hard sometimes to dance between all these fucking elements and still be the captain of the fucking ship, be a father, you know what I mean? Because he's dancing in the element with the young kids. See, I've already survived that dynamic. So, for all intents and purposes, he's running a fucking zoo. You know what I mean? Between all the dynamics of the online stuff, working with the personalities and the musicians, maintaining the aspects of the show and home life, and then all the fucking psycho idiot assholes who are like, hey, how come you're not paying attention to me, man? Oh, I'm going to come shit in your cereal. We all get that. Okay. But it still has it has an effect. So we try and find, the elements, and I use humor. You know what I mean? When somebody comes at me, I'm just like, oh, you want to fucking play? You play fucked up games, you win fucked up prizes. Step right up.
Well, I like his crew because they play fucked up games and they don't care about the fucked up prizes.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of the dynamic. It was quick.
Their commercials on his show.
Oh, dude, I was so envious. They were absolutely. It was literally
commercials.
Skit comedy in a commercial format. Incredible, little segments to kind of. You were
playing that. I walked into that. I'm like, what the hell am I listening to?
Dude, it's so great. Yeah. I was like, but this is the dynamic, when you catch people from a direction, especially when they don't expect it. So, you hear the jingly jangle come on, and you're like, oh, wow, it's going to be an insurance commercial. And then the guy comes out and it's just like, hey, yes, there are times in your life when your wife may be cuckolding you. we have a program for you to deal with that. You know what I mean? And it just like you go from this Abbott and Costello to Cheech and Chong in the Twilight Zone type of twist. But it was just so on point. And I like that. I come from, and I talk about this, I come from the George Carlin School of Communications. I believe language has been so bastardized that, again, even finding a common dynamic is almost impossible because we simply can't communicate. You say a word, people lose their fucking minds. You know what I mean? You say another word, everybody's like, oh, you're a hero. You know what I mean? You know, one person, you know, can go and create a dynasty because she fucked a basketball player. But, and you know, but the girl who has to work in the strip club to take care of her kids as a single parent is somehow a fucking whore. You know what I mean? We got it so ass backwards that, again, any given moment, any given situation, you're dealing with somebody else's alternate reality.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And now we're at the point where everybody just like, you know, their reality supersedes yours. So it's forcing a lot of us to, not unlike the old settler days, we're circling the fucking wagons.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of high-functioning empaths have absolutely fucking had enough. They are tired of the dynamics that they've seen play out. We all know it's generational. It's been passed down like a fucking, it's like an STD.
You know what?
Somebody fucked somebody in the ass fucking 10,000 years ago, and we're still all paying the price because nobody wants to really, you know, I take that back. Not enough people want to deal with it for what it is.
You know what gets me is, have you ever seen an old clip about Dragnet, and the Dragnet guy is giving a speech to the young kid about, hey, you feel like, you know, that you're the rebel and blah, 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 and we felt like that. And it's like that same speech applies now.
But again, depending upon the context, you know, listen, you can take that and turn it into a recruitment fucking speech for fucking, turn it into anything. You know, the teenage mind compers.
There's always that disconnect between one generation to the next. And how do we resolve that? And how do we fix the problems of the previous generation?
Listen, communication is the only key, you know, be it through music, be it through satire, comedy, be it through whatever type of commentary you want to call it. But also in the same analogy.
Now, we have somebody to give a message to.
Oh, see, and again, not unlike the universe, I was just talking about my mother, and she's fucking hiding in the shadows. Yes, we can see you, mother. Great to see you. Love you. Yeah, listen.
Happy birthday.
And again, my mother is more dangerous than she was probably 40 years ago. You know what I mean? And it is one of those great, you know, it's like a good wine or scotch. You just, you know, get fucking better as the time goes on. Don't get me wrong, you know, it comes with its own little, you know,
women gain more power
dynamics.
with age.
Well, you know, she's sharp. You know what I mean? She and I talk a lot about so many different dynamics. And she and I struggle. And, you know, Sid, I bet, you know, I know you can relate to it. And a lot of us can relate to it a lot of times. Sometimes it's hard to find people to actually have certain types of conversations with because they simply don't fucking understand. And we don't want to be the assholes and be like, what are you, fucking stupid? So we avoid it.
Because they are.
Listen, it's the lesser of the two evils. You know what I mean? Because, you know, again, inherently, I believe, you know, that motive matters. So if your context, if your motive is not to be hurtful, you know, regardless of the dynamic of the situation, then you at least have, you know, as Obi-Wan would say, you have the fucking high ground. You know what I mean? You do. But she and I, you know, find ourselves in this reoccurring dance sometimes that it's hard to have certain types of conversations because people really don't. They don't want to see outside of their own boxes. You know, she shares a lot of stories with her friend Linda that she's known for many, many years and is really a sister to her. Though my mother is, you know, fucking pale white, fucking gypsy and Linda is, the epitome of the strong black woman. So you look at the two of them, and they're the fucking odd couple right off the bat. But let me tell you something.
That makes
between the two of them,
friendships, though. It does.
The two of them together could probably fix half the planet's problems.
Well,
they really could. Their combined knowledge and experience and just zero tolerance for the fucking bullshit alone would just set a different template. But we're not at that point with things that we could look at a couple of old women and say, you know what? Maybe the old witches know what the fuck is better.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The question is for your mom is, which one of those two do I write in as president and which one do I write in as vice president when I'm casting my vote? Because
listen, my mother will be the first one to say
she don't want it.
She believes in the concept, but she don't want to deal with the bullshit. She's at a point in her life where she's just like, you know what?
But
she don't want to deal with it.
Somebody who doesn't want to deal with it to fix it.
Listen, in her defense and fairness, it's not that she doesn't care, but she's chosen to focus, her energy, her resources where it serves the most. Again, in our family, in that dynamic.
I'm with Jonathan. Your mom should have
my sister and my brother both still have younger children. So she takes a lot of joy and pride in the dynamic of being a good role model, the grandmother figure, that traditional dynamic, in helping to break the generation. Mom, I did not. Mother. No, I didn't just call you old.
Just don't give her.
I mean, see.
All I'm saying is don't give your.
And
mom
this is what happens. You get caught out in the moment. You do a fucking podcast, and your mother's there to just be like, "Don't you fuck up," because she got stories. She got stories, man, of the days when, oh man, I was a little worm on a big fucking hook. And again, in keeping with the theme dynamic, you know what I mean? Well, listen, certain things can only be said a particular way. And this is just really, I think, the best way to frame it.
Emotional damage.
Yes.
Yes.
There's no other way to frame it.
And I'll tell you what, if you give your mom a crowbar, it's going to be a lot more than emotional damage.
Listen, yeah, I've shared stories. She's been on the podcast. She's been on the podcast before, and she'll be back again. She, again, has this dynamic that she believes in, she's not like, hey, if I don't really have anything to fucking say, what's the point? And that's my mother. She'll tell me straight out. Just like, yeah, well, I guess how do I argue with that?
Right.
But yeah, some of this is also, reflective of all of our journeys. You know what I mean? Part of why I started doing this, and I've talked about it, was to also have a testament. You know what I mean? It was my way of drawing fucking pictures on the cave wall. It's just like, okay, we have this technology. 200 years ago, we called it magic. Now it's technology. I don't care what it's called. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to speak to things that are important to me. So I have that blessing, that luxury, and I'm fucking using it. And
your mom's cracking me up because I said
she's doing the tire iron.
She said tire iron. It was not a crowbar.
Yes, well,
so I stand corrected. She can have a crowbar, but do not give Wolf's mom a tire iron. She will make you regret it.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to use that to jump out. We're going to do another quick track. This was the first track that I released within the dynamic of working with Shiya. And since she obviously fucked up, and this is pretty much my defense. Well, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to use this track, throw you between you and my mother so I can escape. See, this is what we call battlefield tactics. You're slower. Okay, so I'm going to use the song as the distraction.
Like your mom, and your mom likes me, so we will gang up.
Here is the ugly truth, okay? Together. Here is my testament for the rest of the world. Will be no escape. Every fucking woman in my life has been in the Aries, okay? I don't know what the fuck I did in another life or what I have yet to do, but I can't seem to get away. Now, again, I can honestly say that I love both of these Aries in my life. And it's an odd little thing. Like the scorecards even, like I have 2 really loving great Aries in my life, and I had 2 not so great Aries in my life. And everything else in between I don't fucking remember. but that's a story for another time. So yes, we're going to jump into the first track that I released a year and a half ago. That Shiya is the singer. Okay,
Yeah.
So this is throwing Shiya under the bus. This was a song written in conjunction with a friend of ours, Suzanne Kuhn, who is another fellow witch, but it was really her expression into some of her darker elements, expressions, and it is, again, a context that a lot of women experience and feel. So in that aspect, Shiya and Susie structured the lyrics and the song to reflect that. And I came in as the gimp and played guitar and pretty much groveled for my life. It's like, no, please, don't castrate me. So yeah, I didn't get castrated. We made the track and we're here now. I'm throwing Shiya under the bus and I'm running away. Love you, Mom. So yeah, that was her desperate mind. I apologize for the little over pop in the beginning. This is the beautiful thing with technology sometimes, and unfortunately doing a live show, said no, as this fucking goes. And thank you for that. Good job, brother. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sometimes things, don't always pop immediately the way we want it to. So for whatever reason, between the Tascam that I use and fucking Microsoft, it keeps resetting the setting. So I had set this thing up 3 times already fucking tonight. And of course, as soon as I fucking go to play the goddamn thing, it just peaks out.
Click it off.
What's that about? Oh, well, yeah, it's still sitting there, but it's not going to conflict with anything. But yes, as my mother says, haunting lyrics. Yes,
Yes, it is.
Suzanne Kuhn and Shiya took a poem that Suzanne had written during one of her unfortunate dark dives. And, this is, again, one of those common elements. Everybody's story about how they ended up in the deep dark dive is different, but...
Well, we all go through these points to where that's all we're treated like as women.
Right.
Is that we are only treated like another piece of ass, and we struggle to get out of that, we end up in our own heads in that and thinking, well, is that all I really am? And we end up standing like, the lyrics say, in front of the mirror, facing ourselves, and this is where we've been, this is where we're at, this is all I've been, and I know I'm more.
Well, that was the important thing to me on this, and one of the things that I have continued to build and expand upon was not just reflecting the dynamics as I see it, because let's really be fucking honest. I'm a guy. I can understand certain things, I can empathize, I can intellectualize, but there are experiences, and this is not to get into any of the arguments about how people choose to identify, but there are experiences that are unique to women in how men, and those who identify as men, interact, the things they do. You know what I mean? A lot of this is old conditioning, and a lot of it's fucked up, but there it is, in its raw honesty. And it was important to all of us. And, Shiya graciously, stepped up and said, you know what, I'm going to sing this. So they tweaked out the poem, set it into the dynamic.
It wasn't a Shiya stepped up and said, I'm going to sing this. It was you saying, I think a woman needs to sing this. I think you need to sing this. And you're going to sing it. And you just kept up until I said, okay, fine, I'm going to sing it.
I don't remember exerting that much influence on the process. I seem to remember you very, very comfortably and happily getting behind that mic. But
yeah, okay.
But listen, this is the beautiful thing. We all have our perceptions. It doesn't make either version per se wrong. Sometimes we just don't see it in the same way.
Now, your new one, I've definitely stolen and said, I'm singing this, this is mine.
We are currently, and I've been teasing certain little pieces of tracks. Some of them will be
good stuff in the works.
An expansion upon what Shiya started, and we'll be working with Lauren Hazard and others, again, bringing in, that honest female perspective. And it's something I believe in, and we've talked about this within just the whole multiverse of music, is that women aren't represented as much. Women can rock just as much as men.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And, a lot of people take that for granted. I think it's fucking stupid. So the best dynamic I can come up with is, I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to produce it. Now, that track also, too, was really one of your first forays, as they say, into doing video work.
Yes, it was. I had not done a whole lot of video. I'm a photographer, been a photographer for many years, but video was always daunting, and you were like, and I think you can do this. And I'm like, well, I think maybe I can do it.
Well, it set the stage, and you built upon it. Like some of the reels that you've been doing through Lady Shiya and the mentorship circle and stuff like that.
Some awesome reels
have been, fucking incredible. And
go back to that picture. I want to talk about that picture.
Well, we're talking about something else first, and
I like
it's my show.
Picture.
Go get your own fucking show.
I have my own fucking show.
See, now we're going to talk about you.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so tell us about this.
The mentorship circle. It is, I've been a witch coming up this Beltane for 36 years. Yes, I'm old. But, I've learned a lot of things during that time, and I want to be able to share that knowledge. So I've created a knowledge base within a particular group, and that knowledge base is available for everybody who's a member of the mentorship circle to learn at their own pace. But beyond that, just the base knowledge of things, we have all kinds of things that are always going on. We do our group journaling. We have support for one another. Spell archive, community supports, and one of our new things that we're doing.
You do free readings for members every Monday night.
Things that we're doing, though, is going to be group therapy.
The group therapy, right? Yep.
And every Monday, I always end with that. Every Monday, mentorship members get free readings on my live. Every Monday I go live, they get to come in and get a free reading.
See, I fucked up her fucking self promo.
You did. You fucked up
I just can't help myself.
No,
right.
You can't.
So yeah, that's our monetization. When people say, "Well, how do you afford it?" Between the mentorship circle and the tarot readings and the dynamics of that type of stuff, that and the custom music that I do, on the side is that's how we pay for all this stuff and most everything that we do.
$25 a month. You cannot beat what you get out of it with all the learning, the community, the support, and the free readings. I will. And then adding group therapy on top of it. And that $25 a month, where it's not that much to you, is so much to us because, like the Wolf said, it supports us in being able to do the other community dynamics for free that we want to do, that we need to support. We got to keep the lights on. We got to keep the equipment on. We got to keep everything going. And Goddess knows I need food. I like food. I like to eat.
Well, I can't argue beyond that.
So check that out, LadyShiya.com.
Yes. All right. So what? Before I go to another track, what is it about this picture?
I just fucking love that picture.
This is like my go-to logo. Like when people are like, "Hey,
I love that picture."
Well, that's me. That's me in fucking New Orleans in a fucking off on the side.
I'm doing my thing behind the camera because that's what I do. I
like any good wolf, checking out the scenario.
And I'm like, picture! And I just,
you just take. You don't.
No, I mean.
Did I? Yeah, I mean, I guess, obviously I did pose. All right, so I have to own that one.
You have to own that one, but
But I think the look on my face says, you know what? I have to do this because if I don't.
Another damn picture.
Well, there's a price to be paid, and, my mother taught me and the women in my life have taught me, if you ignore that price, that's your ass.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I will, on occasion, be like, okay, I have to be the performing wolf.
You do so well at it.
Yes, I know. I jump through the hoops quite skillfully.
Yes, absolutely.
My deck saves are good.
Yeah, you have high rolls.
I have high rolls on the deck save.
Absolutely. And I think high charisma rolls, in my opinion.
And
he definitely.
So anyway,
yeah.
As I developed over the past couple of years, not only within the music, I also developed the dynamics of creating videos. And one of those videos was a track from my brother Tony Rodriguez and Broken Past for one of the shows that they did. And it was a dynamic that reflected some of their perspectives and experiences on COVID. But I was honored to be able to take that track and then create it into a video. Unfortunately for them, the singer in the band at the time is no longer with them, and they have a new, and in my humble opinion, better singer. Not to bash anybody else. This is what happens. Bands evolve.
Yes.
So Broken Past has evolved. They have a new singer. They're working on new music, but this was a good track of theirs from about 1.5 years ago that, again, I was privileged to do the fucking video for. So,
well, you did.
For my brother Tony, we are going to go back to 20 Vision, and then we'll be back.
Is this real? Last week I
So yeah, that was the unreleased Broken Past track 20 Vision.
Very nice.
From a show at the Stone Pony. Had the pleasure of playing there back in the beginning days of Broken Past on that very stage with my son.
With your son.
And others. A lot of people over the years, charity shows. You know, it's been a really groovy ride. And listen, I gotta say something. How fucking cool is it when your mother, okay, is going down to see your brother, who's, you know, not only been your friend in the dynamic of music, but is a fucking world-renowned tattoo artist. And I don't know if it's you or Linda going to get tattoo work, but thank you for the perfect setup to jump into this. My brother, Tattoo Tony Rodriguez, Broken Past, www.brokenpastnewjersey.com. He is also the owner, lead artist, Under My Skin Tat #2.com. And he's also the proprietor artist for Papo Sticker Company, which basically takes anything that you can imagine and turn it into a bumper sticker or a fucking t-shirt or a fucking mug or whatever the fuck, on a lighter, rolling papers. A lot of our friends that roll within the motorcycle community get their patches done by him. What can I say? My brother Tony is a fucking jack of them all. Incredible artist, great guy. And as my mother says, yes, you're never too old for ink. So I don't know if it's you or Linda that's going down to get ink, but listen, you got to carry a message for me. Tell Tony we love him. Tell him that you were on the show tonight and that we talked about him. We featured him. You got to see some of his performance from the Stone Pony and, you know, blow his ego up. Remind him why he does the things he's doing. And listen, he's a good guy.
Hey,
tell him we love him.
I was having a great conversation with Monkey earlier today about what an awesome tattoo artist Tony is and what a beautiful touch he has for being able to get the artwork done, but in a way that it doesn't scar. It's beautiful. He's
old school.
He's old school. With
old school Asbury Park.
Good skill.
But yes, definitely check him out. Tell him we love him. Tell him I featured him again, because I know he's not watching right now. Listen, he's either making money, he's dealing with his kid, or he's passed out and recovering to restart the shit again tomorrow. So I don't begrudge him it. He's been on the show before, you know, and I love him. So he'll be back again one day when he actually, you know, has time. And when he has actually, you know, some new music. They're working on writing new tracks, recording, doing all that stuff. Those of you who follow Tony, you know that he has a lot of influences and dynamics. You know, he's taught by, you know, a named guy who's a great guy, JD. Love you, brother. Hope you guys are enjoying life. For those of you who don't know, Black Label Society, great band. Check them out.
Yep.
Unfortunately, don't have the rights to play them yet, but something I'm working on. Would love to have them. But hey, we all have to do what we have to do, and Zach is doing the new Pantera stuff, and, you know, we've all got lives. So we support each other where we can. So yeah, check out Tattoo Tony. Reset Tattoo Tony Rodriguez. I am just really, you know.
Shout out to my sister Sharon Turner. Shannon Turner.
More caught out.
Sharon instead of Shannon.
Yeah, neither one of us can speak.
I can't talk tonight. What the fuck?
Just that type of thing.
Fuck.
It happens. Listen, you know, again, when you record stuff, you can just go back and be like, oh, I flubbed there. You edit it, you cut it the fuck out, you throw something in, and then everything just is like, hey, this is beautiful,
I like
smooth.
the more raw dynamic.
You know, listen, there's a case. I don't enjoy fucking up. I mean, sometimes it's hysterical. We've both done the thing.
Fucking.
We're sitting here having a conversation, and the mic is turned off. And people are sitting out there. It's just fucking crickets. Not even crickets chirping. Just dead fucking silence.
And so he's like, hey,
and we have no fucking...
Shit. I've been going on for the last 5 minutes, and the microphone's been
on. No reference at all. So yeah, listen, share your magic, your original music. We'll feature it out here. If you want to come on the show, we'll have you on the show.
Yeah, we're always looking for, if you got something to say, want to be a guest, reach out.
Yeah, listen, part of the dynamic is about sharing. You know what I mean? So shoot me an email, wolf@oldwolfmusic.com.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We are very open. And, you know, again, even within the dynamics, I play metal, but I do other rock and roll as the dynamic of the track. You know, the Shiya and I did. Yeah, it's got a little heavier dynamic. But we're going to pause real quick because I promised I would get this one into the mix as well, too. This is a little bit different dynamic. This is more of that kind of old school acoustic rock. It's a track that a friend of mine, Tom Hampton from Poco, does the slide guitar. It's a beautiful slide guitar work. Matt Brown on vocals as well. And this one actually, Tony Rodriguez did some bass work for it. So this was another one of those kind of, you know, compilation efforts. And the song was born simply from a dynamic from a friend who lost her daughter and was just spiraling. She was just having a horrendous time. So the song and the video literally were born of that one dynamic, one person's experience, one person's pain. But the song also speaks to the dynamic, and the hope with it is to remind people that, to remember who they are, that, you know, you're not alone. So without further ado, going back to one of my personal favorite tracks, and this one is called Mama Rocks. So we'll be back in a minute.
Hey mama, let us show you all the things you have forgotten. The things you have forgotten. It wasn't so long ago. We all danced around the fire, stories to the children, laughing with their wonder. Mama rocks, remember who you are. Don't let them bring you down. See the way we see you still. The magic is in your heart. Your destiny will carry with you. In the arms of our mother. It's simple, don't you see? The question was always the answer. Hey mama, let us give you all the dreams you have forgotten. Lost amongst the memories of the things you desire. The power of a smile made stronger with your laughter, with your laughter, with your laughter. Mama rocks, remember who you are. Don't show you all the things. Hey mama, let us give you all the dreams. Mama rocks, remember who you are. Don't let them bring you down. If you could only see the way we see you still, the magic is in your heart. Your destiny will carry with you in the arms of a mother. It's simple, don't you say? The question was always the answer. This time will get you see. So let's dance around the fire. So let's dance around the fire.
So yeah, that was Mama Rocks as the ending credit. For those of you who aren't able to actually see it, it quotes one of the 4 lines that I wrote in the song was, "Your destiny will carry with you in the arms of her mother." No coincidence, her daughter's name was Destiny. That was the double entendre. But again, in the personal experience of having known her, having, being a parent, my mother also, and thank you for that, Mom, knows rocks. This is the unfortunate reality within circles of people that come and go from our lives, that bad things happen. And sometimes the bad things happen to our children. And sometimes it's catastrophic. And the loss is something that sometimes cannot be explained in words. I have another line from a song singing all the things that should not be said. So sometimes the only way it can be expressed, and for me, the path I chose was to express it through a song, to try and remind her to say, hey, we feel you, but don't forget, who you are. Don't just, sign off. And, I say this to another friend that I've not met, but I've talked to, gotten to know recently through the online community arena.
It's better with you here, girl.
Yeah. And, this is the crazy thing about the dynamic of what we do. She's out on the other side of the fucking planet in, a Baltic country dealing with all kinds of, horrendous trauma and bullshit and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's imperative, I believe, and in some of the conversations that we've had, to really remind ourselves that the little things that we can do for each other sometimes are the most important. To remind each other that, the world is shitty sometimes and bad things happen to good people and vice versa, et cetera, but this is life. This is the dynamic. You can't have one without the other.
And the cool thing is you don't have to face it alone.
Well, and that's the terrifying part. For a lot of us, our experiences, our traumas condition us that we don't trust people. And why should we? And that's the paradox. That's the tough part, is to try and find a way through not only the trust dynamics, but let's also be honest. When we're when we're deep in the pain and the darkness, and we have resolved ourselves that we're worthless, that we're ugly, that we're not worthy of love and everything else that goes with it, it is a hard dynamic to fight through.
It is.
So again, we try, and what I've been doing is we're trying. I previewed on social media the beginnings of a new track that she inspired in that dynamic. It's called Eight of Swords, and it is reflective from the Tower dynamic, and you explained it pretty well, so why don't you...
Well, the Eight of Swords is about that feeling of being trapped, really.
And being trapped behind our traumas and our pain.
Yeah, the swords is always about knowledge. And so when you're trapped behind these swords, you're trapped in a kind of a prison in your own mind.
To some degrees, but
based upon
empaths, that becomes reflective of how we feel.
That's the trauma, our feelings, the things that other people have put us through, and the inner voices that happens that based upon our traumas. And we have to learn to see beyond those things in order to get out of that trap, that Eight of Swords trap.
But I also like the art analogy, and sometimes I think a picture says 1,000 words, because many times it's reflective in Tarot with the blindfold.
Yes.
Because many times the problem dynamic, if you're in something in the moment, you're not going to be able to see things for what they are. That's where the strength in numbers becomes so important, because we need to see it through other people's eyes. When we can't see it in ourselves, the only other option is to see it through somebody else's eyes. Real or imagined, it is at least, in my humble opinion, the lesser of the two evils.
And you're right. The Eight of Swords person who's trapped is always blindfolded because they can't see beyond the things that are keeping them feeling stuck like that.
So I'm trying to set into motion to the dynamics, and anybody that lives out there in that end of the spectrum and stuff like that, to try and find a context to get her back to some form of, healthy dynamics, hope.
You're worth it.
Listen.
You're here for a reason.
Listen, I've spoken with her a bit. She is not stupid in any shape or form. She understands the dynamics, not only what she's been through, but how it translates, and the dynamic of her not wanting to embrace the other end. The solution really, and I have to put it in this blunt context, she's looking at it from a dynamic that, it's a wonderful life, that the world is better off without her. What is the point?
Let me tell you, most of us empaths go through that because we are not only experiencing our own emotions, but we're experiencing the emotional context of everybody around us. Then we're constantly questioning our own emotional context and whether it's worth more or less than everybody around us. And normally we put ourselves last as empaths. So, you're saying she's not stupid. Most people who are empaths like that are not stupid. It is our outward understanding and care that typically puts us
and then you add a lot of deep layers of abuse and betrayal and conditioning, and it's a shit show. But
preach it.
Again, upbeat type of thing. Hey, Arena, you're not alone, sister. You probably won't hear this, but we're still putting the energy out there, and
Care Bear's there.
As we talked, I'm trying to put some shit in motion. Again, I'm no Rockefeller. I don't have a magic wand, but I believe that we have to at least try to different degrees. So, this is me trying, and I will continue to try to do more. So, like we talked about, a lot of things going on tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Had
Incognito theory.
Incognito theory. This is insane. It's just like my tongue is
Neither
just like...
one of us is able to talk today. I don't know what it is.
Jesus.
There's nothing in retrograde.
Dave Incognito theory. We started off the show. We played their official Ride On video. Really, really good stuff. They're going to be performing again May 11th down at the Debonair Music Hall, Teaneck, New Jersey. Definitely, if you're out there, go check it out.
Go check it.
Definitely something worth experiencing live. It's like trying to explain to somebody what chocolate tastes like. Until you've really tasted it, what do you really know? I mean, really.
The universe is balanced on the back of a koala. I had to do it.
And he's smiling. What does he know?
Why is he smiling?
Well,
I
have to assume he's smiling at our own.
He must be listening to the podcast.
And I'm going to use the word incontinence
Incontinence? Oh my
Yes.
God! Really?
I just had to
Why
do
do
that.
you always got to go back to the shit humor?
Because that's how it goes.
Men have this fascination with farts. I mean, to the point to where I saw somebody selling a Dutch oven blanket the other day. That is like the ideal gift to give anybody who's, husband, boyfriend, whatever, is you give them this Dutch oven pack. And the Dutch oven pack includes a fart blanket.
But see, this is my new go-to. I identify as Gollum within this.
Gollum.
And those of you who can't see this, it's just another one of those fucked up memes, and it's just basically Gollum with that look. And the caption is me trying to find the exact amount of pressure to fart, but not shit myself. Now listen, that's a real thing. Shiya will testify, okay?
Don't roll
I constantly flirt with disaster because for me,
go sit down
it's part of our intimacy. I want to find the perfect fart to share with her that truly expresses my innermost self. So I can share something in the
middle of the night
in a moment that nobody else will ever.
Trust me, nobody else wants to, honey.
I let my inner demons out.
Oh my God, did you let that demon out the other night? I swear, I thought I was going to get up and absolutely spray the room down with.
Now, my mother will testify and say that this no doubt comes from my father's side of the family. For whatever reason, the men in my father's side of the family just are compelled to fart on people.
And
I'm genetically predisposed to flatulence.
You're a man.
In the presence of select females, of course.
It goes with the
that's not the thing I just do for anybody. That is really, again, a true reflection of my love. If I love you enough that I'm just gonna fucking break wind and not worry about it, you are in the wolf's den.
I mean, I fart.
Yeah, well, we don't even want to talk about that.
Oh, no. I squeak. My
that's some fucking, no. It is some absolutely horrifying. You want to talk about layers of trauma.
No. Layers of trauma is your fart.
See, you're the one. Listen, I would have let it go. I would have been content to kind of end the show with the whole Gollum. I'll own the fact that I have to check myself so I don't shit myself. It's not that I want to. It's not that I can't control myself. But I like to play dangerous games. And you know the analogy. You play fucked up games, you win fucked up, and in this case, shitty prizes.
All I can say, and you're probably going to have to hit the button now, because all I can say from that fart the other night is...
Well, I mean, if no, you can't do that to me.
Nope.
No. See,
I saw it on screen.
I know, I saw it on screen too, but I just have to dance around it because, because what you're really trying to say to me, and I got to tell you, I'm a fun, this is really what this is where we're at. Yes, but
your
when it translates to
emotional damage.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
But you know what my response is going to be?
Taste the motherfucking rainbow.
Oh, you're an asshole.
Goddamn right.
Ah, shit. Taste the motherfucking
Thank the gods and goddesses that be that we live in a time period that has Samuel motherfucking Jackson.
Too many motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking planet.
No doubt. Now, again, I'm not going to be able to do that stuff on live radio, so those of you who do check out the live radio show when we start doing it, you're going to get a little bit different version of me. Now, again,
FCC won't let us say fuck.
Right. I'm not going to shoot these guys out of the sky. I'm not that kind of an asshole. And there's a little family story dynamic, and my mother and I were actually talking about this the other day. Happy birthday, by the way. My mother's birthday just passed 2 days ago. So throw her under the bus, wish her a happy birthday.
Aries.
But we were talking about my Uncle Ralph. And my Uncle Ralph was a huge influence in my life. He played a bigger part in many degrees than my own father did, but another story another time. But long story short, my Uncle Ralph was a DJ, and he was a DJ for many years at a station outside of New Brunswick, New Jersey, called WMGQ. And my Uncle Ralph, back in those days, like all the men in his family, was a functional alcoholic. But as with all functional alcoholics, the ride does not end well. So basically what ended up happening is, in a half-assed drunken stupor on air, he made a fucked up, albeit, granted, I think drunken, but an off-color reference to a song, and he called it something else that had a bit of a racial on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
That's a
so in this particular moment, there was none of this. Oh no, it went badly, and that was the end. There was no more on air for Uncle Ralph. Now, my Uncle Ralph, you know, again, years down the road, found a really beautiful path back, became a really good person. Not that he wasn't a good person before, but, you know, the dynamics, and, you know, those of you who have
to demonstrate
danced
to other people he
the
was a better
recovery,
person.
he really took a vested interest in the world around him. He's very active, volunteer-wise. He gave a lot back. So he just reinvented himself and went into advertising and did the things, but she had no real honest recollection of a lot of this shit, because he was, you know, again, in that Twilight Zone, half functional, half alternate reality blackout stupor, that he didn't even know what the fuck he was saying. Now, again, I have the luxury that I can come out here and do this, and I can say fuckity fuck. But even here, there are still boundaries. There's certain words I shouldn't, I can't, and I will not
Please don't
use. So the analogy is, you know, hey, sometimes you fuck up and it goes bad. You know, there's certain things, you play it out wrong, and even if you're fucked up, you're still caught in the moment. You know, I hear that analogy, and I used to see this at shows all the time. Guys would get fucking hammered out of their minds. They're like, I'm a rock star. You know, they get on stage, they do their thing, and they're fucking hammered. Not, you know, before the second song is done. So, you know, regardless of whatever you want to say about the performance dynamics, now they're in full-blown drunken ego mode. So they're, you know, they become predators. You know, they go looking for the lowest common denominator. Let's find the drunkest chick that we have and gangbanger in the back of the room. It's rock and roll. Oh my fucking God. Fucking Nightmare Alley. You know what I mean? Just ridiculous, stupid shit. And, you know, Sid and I were talking a little bit about it. It's one of the reasons I pulled me and my son out. Not that that was reflective of Tony or Broken Past or anything directly to do with them, but it is part of the scene. So when you're doing shows and you're playing pieces and you're dealing with these large-scale dynamics, inevitably, you're dealing with drunk, fucked up people, okay? And drunk, fucked up people do drunk, fucked up things. And the rest of us end up being collateral damage. My Uncle Ralph wrapped himself around a fucking telephone pole, and, you know, thankfully somebody found him and saved him, you know, from just dying in the middle of nowhere. And yes, as my mother said, you know, Santana did the Woodstock thing, tripping. You know, Jimmy Page was fucking notorious for being whacked out on dope. Eric Clapton. I mean, the stories go on and on, but, you know, for all of those that made it through, you know, how many just, you know, end up doing a Janis Joplin or Jim Morrison and fucking checking out in the pool of their own puke. Now, you would make a case for creativity and all these other things, but certain dynamics of things just, they don't mix. They don't. And, you know, the only way we learn, unfortunately, is, as they say, the hard way. So, again, I don't begrudge other people, but I choose not to, you know, and, you know, most of the live stuff that I do now is charity. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with the fucking drunken bar stupidity shit. You know what I mean? It's not for me. I don't need to do it for the money. I'm blessed in that dynamic with the other stuff that we do. So I do my music. I put it out there so people can enjoy it. That's just me. Hey, anybody else, you know, you got to do the Spotify thing. You got to do this. That's your thing, you know, and we'll try and support it. You know, and again, which is why the whole dynamic of strength in numbers actually does work. Because a lot of these guys, they don't make much. They really don't, you know, especially when you're trying to do the crawl between, you know, the local clubs and bars and stuff like that. The mentality is pay to play. Yeah. Okay. It is not MTV, you know, rock and roll chicks for free. It really doesn't exist except when people are fucked up. But again, another story for another day. I'm going to close out tonight with one of my deeper, darker tracks, the video dynamics I did with my son to reflect our sharing of not only anime aspects, but in creating a visual representation for this track. My son plays bass on this track with me doing the guitar, Matt Brown on vocals, Jeff Thal on drums again. It's a dark one, but again...
Sometimes you gotta express yourself.
Listen, that thing spun around for a while inside of me until I finally put the words to paper and you know, recorded the core dynamic. You know, I do the piano work, I do all the guitar work. Yeah, what the hell kind of meme did you just walk into? Yeah, this is me sharing who I am, Brother Jonathan. This is what I look like, not trying, so I don't shit myself. That's just how it works. Love you, Mom. Thank you for joining us again. Happy birthday. So yeah, we're going to close it out with my track Demons and the associated video. And until next time, next Tuesday, we're going to have Sid Ryder in her Demon Radio / media.
Oh, it's going to be.
He and I are going to dance, play some more music, and hey, we're going to see where it goes. So until next time, know that you are loved, love each other, strength in numbers.
Woohoo!